Okay, everyone, here we go. This is part 2 of our making Seder of the Seder, Divrei Haggadah. Last week, we pointed out what is the essential part of Maggid. We did it last week? I didn't make that up. We did it last week. We went through various stages of the Haggadah. We concluded that it was number 8. We explained different reasons. Rabbi Soloveitchik and others gave for it. Why they choose those psukim, Derech Shelo Tshuva, Torah Sheba'al Peh, and the like. What I would like to do today is, did we analyze the Halach Manya at all last week? We'll start with that. So, if last week we kind of at least understood the broad spectrum, the broad structure of Maggid, understanding what each stage is and each paragraph is all about, it's worthwhile now just taking a little bit of time and just pointing out a couple of different aspects of the Maggid section, and so far we get. Okay? Let's start.
You mean the part of Rabbi Gamliel?
No. Wait, last week?
We did that last week. That's different.
No, last week I said how it was number 8 is the essential part of Maggid.
We also talked about how how he calls Halach Ma'anya. He calls it something else. Different
than Rabbi Gamliel. Yes, last week. Yes, correct. Okay. So let's begin. We talk about how can we recite the Haggadah in Galus. I don't think I did that. I'll do that today too. Okay, those are 2 topics. Beautiful. So, take a look at the Rambam in source number 1, which is a breakdown of the halachos of chametz u'matzah. It says the following. Actually, totally off topic. I saw somebody and they said, "Oh yeah, listen to your kosher kosher kitchen. Excuse me a favor. Can you speak louder next time?" I'm like, no one has ever complained that I'm not speaking loud enough. There you go. Must be the camera. It can't be me. Nusach Haggadah shenagu b'Yisrael Yisrael bizman hagalut kach hu. The Rambam begins by saying, this is the Nusach of the Haggadah while the Jews were living in exile. What must that mean? It appears that there's a different Haggadah if you're living in Yerushalayim, no? That's what the Haggadah appears to suggest. And that's going to be very important for a number of different reasons. Welcome. For a number of different reasons. And maybe what I will do is, I will, at the end, if you remind me, I can point out a couple of those things maybe a little bit later. But regardless, the Rambam says this is what we say now, living in Galus. This is our Haggadah. Matchilo kos sheni. So we begin with the second kos. When do we have the first kos? Kiddush is the first kos. When do we drink our second kos? Wonderful. After Maggid. I want to come back to that too. The Omer, Bibihilu Yatzanu Mitzrayim. That is not our Nusach. Then our Nusach is the next word, Ha Lachma Anya. Okay, so what's Bibihilu? In Aramaic, that is with haste. We left Egypt. This is our bread of affliction. We spoke about that last week. Bread of affliction, bread of redemption. I don't want to talk about that again today. So, let's translate literally. Ha Lachma Anya, this is the bread of our affliction. Ta'chalu avatana, that our forefathers ate. In the land of Egypt. Called Dichven Yetiv Yochal. Anybody who's needy, poor, come and eat. Called Ditzrech, anyone again who's needy, Yesev Yisach should come and have the Pesach with us. Shasa Hacha, this year we are here. Lashana Haba Ba'ara D'Israel. Next year, may we be in Israel. Remember the language of the Rambam? This is the language of what we say in Galut. Shatahacha, this year we are here. Sorry, I apologize. Shatahacha Avdei, this year we are slaves. Leshata Da'atye, in next year, the year to come, B'nei Chorin, we are going to be freed. See, what are the couple things that bother you with this paragraph? 1, what makes this paragraph very different than the other paragraphs in the Haggadah? In the Maggid section in particular. Okay, it's in Aramaic. Very strange. Why is this paragraph in Aramaic? Is a famous question. What's interesting, though, is what's the last paragraph of the Haggadah? Also Aramaic. That's called Chagaja. Right?
Lubavitch. In case you don't have the entire section.
Oh, you don't do Chagaja?
After Pesach, it's over.
You don't do Nirtza. You're Lubavitch. Okay?
That's it. Done. No song.
It could be they feel they're already in the Messianic era.
That's what it is.
There you go. I knew it. Okay.
Not with the Rabbi, but...
No comments. We're on tape. Now, So, question one is, why is it Aramaic? Wonderful. What else is very strange? Wonderful. It's a great question. Tell you asked, I don't understand. You're inviting people to your Seder in the middle of the meal. Think of where we are in the process of the Seder. There's only 15 stages, for most of us, 15 stages. This is stage 4. They've missed Kadesh. Orchatz, Karpas, Yachatz. Sorry, stage 5. This is like they've missed, okay, maybe not a third of the time of the Seder, but I guess, Karpas doesn't take too long. Yachatz doesn't take too long. Unless you have the whole game, I guess, you play hide and go seek, or you start the hide and go seek process. But you understand what I'm saying. From a timing perspective, it's not, but from a stage perspective, it is. And I'll tell you why this is crucial. They've missed Kadesh. That's one of the mitzvos of the Seder. And it's an integral part. What is going on here? And you invite people to your Seder while you're sitting around the table? It's like lip service, right? I don't really mean it. So it's like, Mom, once the table's been cleared and everything's ready, Mom, did anything? It's lip service. You don't really mean it. What's going on? Don't tell Aaron. Okay, so there's something very strange that we're missing. Also, what's very strange is if we're about to engage in a Seder with wine and reclining and festivities, is it appropriate to say, "Oy vey, we're slaves," right? Next year, hopefully, we'll be free. This year, we're in Galus. It's almost antithetical to the entire Seder night, which is about redemption. Right? Like, why are you harping on the fact that we're in exile? Isn't it about the night of the redemption?
They're still inviting an ani to eat lechamoni.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Why would you invite someone who's poor to eat the poor man? Like, it's not going to make him feel
Good. Right. By the way, when you eventually make it to our table, we're going to give you great food. Right? Well, very good. Wonderful. We're missing something here. So I'm going to give a number of different answers, some of which are going to be more technical, and some of which I think are going to be quite insightful and give us a lot of insight into the entire night. We'll do the technical first. So I believe it's the Ritva who says, no, this paragraph was actually recited in Shul starting Rosh Chodesh Nisan. At the end of davening, instead of announcing, Mincha Marv this afternoon will be at whatever, or instead of whatever announcements they made, they inserted a paragraph, Halach Manya, or something like Halach Manya, meaning everyone's invited, who needs a place.
It's still done, like in both ends, like.
Right, very right. So it's instead of, you don't, make a Facebook group, you send an email blast, it's still done, right? Whereas we invite people to Seder, we have no people coming, if you know people who need a Seder in Thornhill, so they can come over for sure. So, there's no question that has remained. So the text, now by the way, why did it make sense that's in Aramaic? Why would you invite people in Aramaic? Why not in Hebrew?
That's the language of the people.
It's like inviting people to your Seder in Hebrew, right? You would never think chances are a person who doesn't have a Seder can't speak Hebrew. Chances are a person who speaks Hebrew is going to have a Seder. Again, I'm not saying there aren't exceptions to that. Or some perhaps Israelis who don't have a Seder, but very few. I mean, I think something like 98% of all Jewish Israelis have a Seder. Okay. They might eat too early, they might have kidneys, they might, you know what I mean? But they have some type of Seder. Might not recline properly, whatever. But you don't get it. They have a Seder at some point. Some sort. It's also a cultural moment, especially in Israel. But there's another answer that I want to give. Well, there's a couple different dimensions to it. Notice, what is the second part, the way I sectioned it off, what's the second part? What's that section called? Not a trick question. What would you call 2? Ma'ishtana. Now, have you ever been in a class, maybe like one of the lectures that you're in, where you can't ask a question, you can't raise your hand? The professor's there, he or she is going for 50 minutes, he ain't stopping. Anyone asks a question, they're laughed at, they're shush, come to me later. You know what I'm talking about? You ever have those classes? What's the feeling that you get when there's a class being dominated by somebody and they don't allow discussion? How do you feel as a student in that room? I'm excluded, right? I can't really be part of it. Not a real educational moment, right? Maybe it's like a lecture. Maybe a lecture's not supposed to be educational. I'm not quite sure. The Rambam writes in the Halachot of Yom Tov that anybody who feeds only their family and does not provide for the aniyim, people who are marei nefesh, do not fulfill the mitzvah of Simchat Yom Tov. That if you only feed yourselves and your family, it is what's called, I meant to actually bring the Rambam, it's called Simchat Kreiso. It's the Simcha for your belly, not for Simchat Yom Tov. The Abarbanel writes in his Haggadah, which is an amazing Haggadah called Zevach Pesach, he writes the following. I discovered this in 1990, wow, Pesach 93, 20 years ago. Wow. No, it was already past January, Pesach 94, 19 years. No, because it's my Shana Barat, that's what I remember. So, I was on a kibbutz, and I had the Zevach Pesach. And you know what he says? He says an amazing thing. He says, there's no question in my mind that the Jew has the poor people at their table already. Why? They know Rambam. They know that. What is the mitzvah of Yom Tov? Misameach, those people who need some support. They're already at your table. But what's the problem? This, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, is a tremendous educational insight. And you all know it because you're all students. The next paragraph is Manishtana. If you feel like an outsider, you can't ask a question because you're an outsider. You feel excluded. Says the Abarbanel, in tremendous insight into the psychology of those who are in need. If you're going to recite Manishtana, who's going to ask a question? Not these guests, because they're going to feel like excluded. But if you make a statement or a proclamation, the needy and the poor people, come join us. They're outside. They've yet to arrive. What does that gentleman, that lady at the table feel? Angered? No. Included. Oh, thank you. Right. Perfect. Beautiful. She's whispering. I'm not here because I'm poor and needy. I'm here because I'm part of the family. I'm friends. I see her all the time at Subi's. Right? Every time we meet the bus together, we're in the same lecture hall together. I'm not invited because I'm a nebuch, because I'm a destitute, I'm an orphan, I'm a widow, I'm a convert, I'm a person who's recently been more connected to Judaism. I'm here because I'm friendly with the kid, with the And then you can have the next paragraph, Manishtana. Then and only then could you really invite and encourage people to ask questions. So you have to make those poor and the needy feel comfortable. So enachinami. To some extent, it is a service. You don't really mean to invite with that statement poor people at your house because it doesn't make any sense. You're sitting on your table, the door is closed, who's going to hear you? It's in the middle of the Seder. You're right. It's you do it to include the people that you've already invited a couple weeks earlier. Gewaldic insight by the Abarbanel. Very, 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 very clever. Very clever. So you have like the Ritzvah, which is like Pshat, you know what I mean? And you have the Abarbanel, which is tremendous insight into education, into people. I like the Abarbanel. I embellished the Abarbanel a little bit, but it's close enough. Okay, the other thing which we mentioned, which I believe is a major theme, and I want to actually develop this for a little bit. How is it possible that we can sit at the Seder and declare and recline and drink wine when we're sitting in Galus? The Rambam maybe wrote this. He's sitting in Egypt. Which is quite ironic. Right? Where's actually fighting? There's a mission to I about this actually while you're still living somewhere else. But how can we declare and celebrate that we're free? I understand if we are reclining and we're celebrating the Seder, if we're living in Yerushalayim, or if we're living in Tiveria, or we're living in Beersheba. I understand how it's possible for us to be mesameach and to sing and rejoice. But how can we do this sitting in Galus? It almost seems to be like sheker. There's an amazing Gemara that actually I think I mentioned on Monday. I don't remember when I mentioned it. There's an amazing Gemara. Can you get me a Gemara in Pesachim? Pesachim Akiva. It doesn't matter what type of Gemara. Keep me scroll. There's a set of Gemara at the bottom, or the skinny guys. Go to the skinny guys for sure. I know I saw Pesachim 2 days ago. Put your hand down. Oh, there too. The top shelf. Is there a Pesachim there?
No.
So go down 4 shelves, 5 shelves, all the way to the right. Should be the second book. Only because I pulled it out of the bookshelf the other day. Don't think I actually know where books are. Here we go. Kuf. Here it is. Many of you are familiar with this. I'm reading from Kuf Tet Zayin Amud Bet. The Gemara says as following. It's actually Mishnah. That's the truth. Lefichach. Lefichach, anachnu chayavim hadod lalel l'shabeach, l'fa'er, l'ramem, l'adel, l'vrel chales, ולמי שעשה לאבותינו, ולנו את כל ניסים האלו, אצלנו מגדיל לחירות, מגון לשמחה, מעבר ליום טוב, מפעל לאור גדול, משוב לגאולה, ונור לפניו, Hallelujah. Okay, what did I just read? Where did we say that in the Haggadah? That's the, remember it's been a whole year, that's the end of Maggid. The end as we end Maggid with. Mishnah asks, Arechanu Omer, how far do we go? Mishnah continues, Bet Shame Omrim, Ad Eim Habarim Smecha. You go until Eim Habarim Smecha. Bet Hillel Omrim, Ad Chalamish L'mayna Mayim. So the Mishnah goes on to say, okay, great, we recite this part, I'll explain what I mean in a second, and then we also say a couple paragraphs of Hallel. How many paragraphs of Hallel do we say? Machloket Bet Shammai Bet Hillel. We do, of course, we say both. We say Ad L'mayna Mayim. In the Haggadah, Monday night, after we say L'mayna Mayim, what do? We are going to recite a bracha. The bracha is Baruch Hashem HaCholam, Asher Ga'alanu, Ga'al Tavotenu Mitzrayim, V'giyanu Ezel Lecho Matzah Mara. Right? It's a whole long paragraph. It ends with the bracha, Baruch Hashem, Ga'al Yisrael. We pick up, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. We then make the bracha over the wine, and we drink. The reason why I didn't mean to say that was because the cup should already be in your hand the entire time. Probably not just the entire bracha, but probably also the 2 paragraphs of Hallel as well. And then you make the bracha, and you drink the second cause. But the Mishnah continues, and there's a debate. V'chotem b'geula. You end with geula, as I said, Shiur Gal Yisrael. Rabbi Tarfon Omer, what is the language that we should end this paragraph? Asher Ga'alanu v'Ga'alat Avotenu Mitzrayim. They redeemed us and our forefathers from Egypt. V'yachotem. That was it. Rabbi Akiva argues. Listen to this. He says, no. This is what you need to say at the end of the bracha. Al Kein Hashem Elokeinu Ke'avotenu Yagi'enu L'moadim V'leraglim Achirim Habim Likratenu V'shalom Smechim B'vinyan Yiracha V'sasim B'avoratecha V'nochal Sham Min HaPesachim Min HaZvachim. Then it continues, etc., etc., Al Pedutenu V'Abdut Nafshenu Baruch Adonai Hashem Ga'al Yisrael. That is the language according to Rabbi Akiva. What's the machlokes between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Tarfon? What are they fighting over? Like a technicality? Do you say Gal Yisrael, not say Gal Yisrael? What are they arguing over? Rabbi Soloveitchik had a tremendous insight, and I believe this plays out in Halachmania, and this is going to play out many times in the Haggadah. I'm going to point them out to you. What is the message of the Seder? Is the message of the Seder just Hakarat HaTov al Ha'avar? Meaning, God took our forefathers out of Egypt. I don't look at something historical. It's as if I was in Egypt. God took me out of Egypt. God took us all out of Egypt. We're all redeemed from Mitzrayim. No. What do you mean, no?
It wouldn't be about the past. It's about the past, but what's the Jewish people?
Says Rabbi Akiva, it's insufficient. Rabbi Tarfon says that is the motif of the Seder. God took us out of Mitzrayim. Yetziat Mitzrayim. Says Rabbi Akiva, it's not just. It is. That is important. Don't get me wrong. There's another entirely different dimension. And that night is like the first night of the Seder. Go back thousands of years. The Jewish people sat around the table, and they also had a Seder. They reclined, and they ate, and they had Pesach, and they had Matzah, and they had Maror, and they had a staff in their hand. I say a staff in their hand just because of nobility. Na'alechem b'raglechem. Why? It's nobility. Noble people leave their shoes on. Canadians do not. Right? Right? They ate a noble meal. I'll give you proof why it's a noble meal. There was an Isser at the night of Pesach Mitzrayim. What couldn't they do? They couldn't break the bone. There's an Isser Shavirat Etzem. Who breaks bones? The animals, the savages. So you're a refined individual. You eat with the queen. There is no way the queen is breaking those bones. She has her pinky curled. She cuts away. But when she comes a few inches away from the bone, she stops. So the peasant does. You eat the bone, that's animalistic. Right? So we see the Jewish people were acting like noblemen and noblewomen in how they ate, how they wore, what they drank. They were like noble people. But they were in Egypt. They were in Galus. They were not redeemed. They were living in the dearth, in the mud, and the filth, and the stench of Mitzrayim. But that's not where they were dreaming. It's not where they were traveling to in their minds, and their hearts, and their souls. In their hearts and minds and souls, they were already redeemed. Why? Because they knew with certainhood. Is that a word? Certainty. Thank you. They knew with certainty that in the next hour, 2 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, it was going to be a tremendous geula, and Moshe was going to say the time has come. They knew they were leaving the next day. They knew it. And therefore, even though they were sitting in Mitzrayim, that's not where they were from a mind perspective. They knew they were going to be redeemed. God was going to take them somewhere else. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that is the exact same image that we do at the Seder. Even though we're in Galut, even though we're in diaspora, even though we're covered with snow, it doesn't matter. Because tonight is the night of the redemption. God took us out of Egypt tonight, that night. He will take us out again. And I'm certain about it, because He did it in the past. And He'll do it in the future. That is Rabbi Akiva. What does Rabbi Akiva say? Kain Hashem Elokeinu Havotenu Yagienu Lemodim V'Lorgalim Achirim Habonikrenu Smechim B'Binyan Yiracha V'Sasim B'Voratecha. Rabbi Akiva is certain this is going to happen, and that is why the night of Pesach is the greatest night of faith, the greatest night of faithfulness in God. He took us out. He will take us out. Baruch Hashem Gal Yisrael does not mean God took us out, but He is the Redeemer, Hoveh. He will take us out. How can we sit and recline and drink wine and eat meat and wear our finest clothing? We should be crying because we didn't eat the real Korban Pesach. The answer is Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva says tonight's the night. Tonight is the beginning of the Geula. Tonight we're going home. Tonight we're going to be redeemed. And that is why we hold like Rabbi Akiva. And Rabbi Akiva, we know, epitomizes this idea of hope. Many of you are familiar with the famous story at the end of Gemara Makkot. What's the Gemara Makkot? Rabbi Akiva is walking with the same chevra by the Beis HaMikdash, and he sees a fox by Makam HaMikdash. What does everyone do? Cry. What does Rabbi Akiva do? He laughs. Like a good Jew, he asks a question. Why are you laughing, Rabbi Akiva? How does he respond? It's a good question. Why are you crying? We're crying because the place that Azarya Karev Yumat, Sholim Holchim Bo. How could you not cry? Right? If a Zar goes there, if a non-Kohen Gadol goes there, the Chayv Mita, and a fox is now walking by Makam HaMikdash, how could you not cry? Akiva says no. Finish Rabbi Akiva. He says, now I understood. Make a long story short, the nevuah of the Churban came true. I now know that the only nevuah left is the nevuah of Geula needs to come true. That's why I'm laughing. Rabbi Akiva epitomized the idea of hope. The idea of a better tomorrow. God has not abandoned the Jewish people. And now you understand why even Rabbi Akiva, who leads a failed rebellion, the Merid Bar Kochva, which by the way, people don't realize how terrible that was. The failure of Rabbi Akiva from the years 132 to 135, it was almost as big of a destruction as the Churban itself. We read Kinot, right? We read Kinot about them regularly on Tisha B'Av. It's a terrible tragedy. Many Jews, the last pocket of Jews, the Jewish communities were exiled to. There was a very strong Jewish presence from the destruction of the Churban till Merid Bar Kochva. After that, the Jewish presence is drastically reduced. I'm not saying Jews were exiled in the first place by Churban. I'm sure they were, but there still remained. Right? The obvious example is Tiruli Yavne V'Chachameha. Right? Rocham ben Zakkai, they were to establish a yeshiva center after the Churban. After 135, there's big trouble. Okay. Now you understand, I think, what's going on in Halach Manya, and you're going to see this play in a number of different places. Take a look. What do we say, Halach Manya? What is the main message you need to say in the beginning of the Haggadah? Even though this is the Nusach of the Galut, we still say L'shana haba b'nei Charin. How can we say that? Because we're certain. That's not like a wishy-washy statement. We are certain God is going to redeem us. And that's why it's not like a strange statement to say. It's a necessary to remind ourselves, no matter how bad things are, L'shana haba b'nei Charin, Hashata Hacha, next year will be better. Now you appreciate why at the end of the Seder, what do we sing? L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim. What's going on here? Think about it. When do we say this? Part of the text. You hear this? You'll never see part of a text of L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim. How did it get into Pesach? So we might sing it after Yom Kippur, right? But it's part of mamash, the text of Pesach. Why? Because the Pesach night was looked upon as the night of the Geulah. And now you'll appreciate another very strange story in the Haggadah. Look at 4. So just to remind ourselves, stage 3, after we ask the Manishtana, which I could talk. By the way, there is a change in the Manishtana. This is not the Manishtana of Israel. The Manishtana of Israel is different. What's the 4th question? How come some nights we eat meat that... It's a Mishnah. How come some nights we eat meat that is... Every other night we eat meat that is roasted, cooked, or baked. So we don't ask that question anymore. Instead, what do we ask? Reclining. That's why, by the way, the Rambam says it's a different nusach if you're living in Galut versus if you're living in Israel. Okay. So back to our Mishnah. Back to source 2, source 3. Then we say Abadim Hayinu, and remember we go on to say, if God would not have taken us out in Egypt, we would still be enslaved. We would still be enslaved to Paro b'Mitzrayim. And then it goes on to say, Afilu kohen chachamim nevonim zekenim kulam yodim et haTorah mitzvah alenu lesaper b'Sar Mitzrayim chomrich b'Sar Mitzrayim harei zeh mishubach. So again, very strange. Most mitzvot that we have a limit. Kol hamarbe b'nitila lulav harei zeh mishubach. That's ridiculous. Why does it say whoever Mesaper? By the way, how would you translate Mesaper? That was a good translation of Lesaper. So again, let's go through this. It can't just be recount, because it's not just enough to talk about what happened in the past. Now you appreciate what we did last week a little bit. That's why you use the farmer and the miracles that happen. That's why we go on all these tangents. Why do we sing Dayenu and sing all these songs? Because part of the mitzvah of Sipur Yitzhak Mitzrayim is Shevach. Why Shevach? God took us out and God will take us out. So So Sipur, I believe Sipur is not just telling the story, and it's proven by the rest of Maggid. Sipur Yitzhak Mitzrayim is about what's the meaning and significance behind the Exodus narrative. Because to recount the story takes 10 minutes, an hour, an hour and a half. Sipur, what's the meaning? What's the impact? So I can talk about that forever. That's unlimited. How it could impact, and the miracles. And what does that mean for me? How can I understand it better? And by the way, that's why this paragraph says, even if chachamim and nivonim, usually if just to retell a story, I know the story. Check. It says no, absolutely not. Kulanu chachamim, there's still a mitzvah of Sipur Mitzrayim. It is not about, it's like a test, like a spitback test. It's not a spitback test. That's what bad teachers and bad professors give. God doesn't give those things. God gives the meaning and significance and impact. Every year it changes. Every year you have a chova, you have an obligation. Now, look at 4. Ma'aseh Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Eliezer, and Rabbi Elazar, Ben Azariah, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Tarfon. You know who the youngest is of all those guys? First of all, where are they located? B'nei Brak. Who lives in B'nei Brak? Not today. Rabbi Akiva, no? And Rabbi Akiva is also the youngest. Why is Rabbi Akiva, who's the youngest, why are they paying homage to him? He's the youngest. The Nasi is there. Rabbi Tarfon was extremely wealthy and older. People who are older, wealthier, the Nasi, the Av Beis Din, why are they going to Rabbi Akiva's house? I think the answer is because they see in Rabbi Akiva something very special. What do they see in Rabbi Akiva? This idea. And what is this idea? The idea of tonight is not just a night to talk about the past, but tonight is the night of the redemption. And therefore, halacha is like Rabbi Akiva. Baruch atah Hashem, Gaal Yisrael. That God is going to redeem us. And they went to his house. And when do they do it? Continue reading. Hayu Mesabrin Mitzrayim Kol Oto Halayla, that night. Now what's amazing is, when do they stop? Ad Shabbat Talmideim V'amru Lahem Rabotenu Higeh Zman Kriyat Shema Shel Shacharit. Now you might think, wait a second. Oskim b'mitzvah? Patur min a mitzvah, no? If I'm engaged in a mitzvah, I'm exempted a mitzvah. Why should I stop? According to halacha, really, if you're engaged in a mitzvah, you do not need to stop and do another mitzvah. If you're learning Torah, you do not need to get up and go perform. Well, it's actually not true. Talmud Torah is actually might be an exception that you actually might have to stop it to do Hachnasat Klav, Vayatimet, and all those things. That's a whole other conversation. But if you're engaged in a mitzvah, okay, there's another example. If you're wearing tefillin, if you're davening, you do not need to give money to a poor person. You're asay mitzvah, pavi in a mitzvah. The Gemara even says if you're watching someone's animal, you're shomer aveda, someone knocks on your door, you don't need to give an ani money, right? Which is why that's the Gemara says a shomer aveda might be considered a shomer sachar because he saves money. How does he save money? Doesn't have to give the guy $1 when he comes to the door. Okay, that's a Talmudic discussion. But what I'm trying to say is, why do they stop? The night represents confusion, trepidation. I'm scared. It's nighttime. Galut. Yaakov Avinu represents the Av of Galut, and he is metaken the tefillah of Arvit, because Yaakov Avinu lived most of his life in the diaspora when it was dark. But when the morning comes, what's the morning? The morning. What is Kriyat Shema? Kriyat Shema is Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shemayim. The learning of the night of Pesach. And I understand why this happens from a practical perspective, but not from a halachic perspective. There's a greater mitzvah to stay up all night and learn Pesach night than there is Shavuos night. I doubt anyone here stays up Pesach night learning. I bet many people here stay up Shavuos night learning. Even though halachically it makes a lot more sense to stay up Pesach night to learn. Right? Just sometimes minhag trumps halacha. Sometimes I'm just exhausted. I don't know why. But when it comes to the morning and there's light and you're davening to God, that's the whole point of Sipur Yitzhak Mishram is not to retell the story. It's to recognize what God has done for us. What is tefillah? What was Avraham Avinu's metaken tefillah shacharit for? Avram is metaken. It's Kriyat Shema. And remember what you need to do? Be somech geula to tefillah. See, remember, halacha always has a shkafic dimension to it. I'll give you an example. You come late to shul in the morning. Again, this is theoretical, not practical. You come late to shul in the morning, and you got to catch up. You must skip Psukei Zimra in order to say Shemona Esrei, the Amidah with the minyan. Now, how much can you skip? You must say Machlokes, a bare minimum of Psukei Zimra. On Shabbos, if you got to the Nishmat Kol Chai, then you got to go straight. If you do all that and you won't say Shemona Esrei with the minyan, start from the beginning and take your time. But if by skipping lots of Psukei Zimra, you'll be able to do that, you got to skip. But you must say Shema before Shemona Esrei. You must be Somech. If the juxtapose Geula to Tefillah. What's Geula? Baruch atah Hashem. Gal Yisrael after Tzur Yisrael. At night, at Mariv, you should try to. But if you're late and they're about to say Shemona Esrei, You say Shema Esrei and you say Shema later. You should, but Tefillah B'tzibur is more important at night, not during the day. What do we see from here? That the morning, when it's light outside, you must talk about the redemption before you can speak to God. What did they just do? They just did that. The night of Sipur Tzom Mitzrayim is about the Geula. So they've done that. Go right into davening. It's not a hefsek. You're not stopping one to the other. It's to some extent what davening, what tefillah is all about. It's also about Baruch Hashem leading up to Gal Yisrael. Okay, what's my time like? 5 minutes. Wow.
Take your time.
What can I do? One more. All right, we'll just do one more thing and we'll stop. How come we don't make there's a positive commandment. There's a mitzvah to say to be mesaper Yetziat Mitzrayim. No, how come we don't recite a bracha? Very strange. This is a mitzvah d'oraita. Okay, good. There's 5 answers, more than that maybe. So hold on, Taya. Very good. So the question is, why don't we recite a bracha? One answer is Taya, maybe there's no shiur. Maybe it's like ongoing. So like, it's kind of like mitzvah tzedakah. I don't make a bracha on tzedakah. It's a positive commandment in the Torah. But like, when exactly do you fulfill the mitzvah tzedakah? Unclear. If you give it, if you not give, maybe it's unclear exactly. Maybe there's no shiur to it. Maybe that's why there's no. Okay, good. What else could it be? Others argue that no, it's actually wrapped up into Kiddush. Because in Kiddush you say Zechaz Mitzrayim, maybe. But the Maharami Prague has a beautiful answer. Maharami Prague says, I heard this from Rabbi Bar-Ilan, also many years ago. Rabbi Taylor, I have no idea what he's up to today. Anybody with Bar-Ilan here? Playtime Bar-Ilan with Taylor? I don't know if he's still there. Sometimes I try to inquire about him. He said that Maharal argues and said, you know why? He says, D'vrim shebalev, there's no bracha. There's in halacha, do you make a bracha on Simchat Yom Tov? There's no bracha on Simchat Yom Tov. Do you make a bracha on the status of an avel? No. Because anything, so I'll give you an example. Let's use a negative example, a positive example, and then the Pesach example. The negative example is, there's a person, Reuven, Rahman al-Islam, whose father passed away. He said, what does he do to show he's an avel? What are the actions that he does? Rips his clothes, his shoes, he doesn't work, he can't greet people, sits on a low area. Those are all actions. Those are the actions that he does in the stage of Avelut. But the kiyum, the fulfillment of Avelut, is not done through those things. The fulfillment of Avelut is in his heart. It's called sadness. Simchat Yom Tov, there are things that we do. What do? We eat meat, we drink wine, we sing, we rejoice. The tefillah make us happy. Not going to school could make us happy or anxious, right? But the kiyum, the fulfillment, is in the heart. Now, why is this so? Because everyone asks a question. What happens when these two things attack each other? God forbid, Reuven's father dies. What day is it today? Tuesday. Wednesday. Today's Wednesday? Today's Wednesday. God forbid a person buries their relative today. What will happen to the Shiva? It's going to end early. Shiva, in theory, would end next Tuesday morning. It won't. It'll end Monday. Why? Because you can't have personal Avelut go against national Simcha. What wins? National Simcha. Your Avelut is cut short. I don't understand. Why can't I do both? Right? Why can't I eat meat, drink wine, while I sit on the ground, and wear leather shoes, and rip my clothes? Why are they contradictory? The answer is, those are actions. But it's a contradiction in your heart. You can't be both happy and sad at the same time. That's a stira. So the pu'ulot are just external things that we do, but the fulfillment is in our heart. And since you can't be happy and sad at the same time, one has to give way to the other. That's like the lumdish way of understanding it, right? So too says the Maharal when it comes to Sipur. The fulfillment of the mitzvah is in one's state of mind. and a mitzvah that if it's fulfilled in the state of mind, you do not make a bracha on, like Yom Tov or Avelis. What is the state of mind? It's this cognitive, emotional moment of recognizing that we're part of God's people, thanksgiving for Avar, Tikva la'atid. God will redeem us. God has redeemed us. Will continue to redeem us. Continues to be with us despite difficult times. He took us out of Mitzrayim. He has even taken us out of Toronto. He's begun to take us back home. It's part of Shivat Zion that we are living through, and Mitzvah Hashem will continue to lead us to the final stage of the Geula. That is and perhaps, by the way, there were those who argue that why is wine better than grape juice at the Seder? Sometimes you get these lofty levels of alcohol helps a little bit, right? When you've left a little bit of the mundane world, I'm not saying you become intoxicated, but alcohol can help you a little bit, give you that stage of simcha to leave the mundane world that we're trapped in and bring us to that higher lofty kiyum of the Maharal of Sipur Yitzhak Mitzrayim. Chag Pesach Kosher Sameach.